My dad was a man that turned premature gray. When he was 40, he had gray hair. Just full gray. Is that not premature?
I wouldn't say so.
Oh, okay. When he was 20. When he was 20, he was. I might be telling a story there, but we're going with 20. And so when I was, my parents got divorced. I was 13. That would have made my dad 51. When I moved in with him, he was just gray-headed. And so I noticed that after I moved in with him, his hair started darkening. Oh, wow. Yeah, it's like he found the fountain of youth. But after about 10 years of him finding the fountain of youth, or maybe it's a little less, I don't remember, all of a sudden that nice dark hair that he had had all of his life started turning orange.
What have you done to him?
And I was looking at the orange hair. Now I knew that gray hair turned white, but I didn't know that black hair turned orange. And so I asked him about it one time. I said, Dad, are you going swimming in chlorine, or what's the deal with the orange hair? And he said, oh, I use this Grecian's formula. I said, oh, have you just started using it? He said, oh, I've used it for a long time. Oh, I said, I just noticed that your hair was kind of turning orange. Now, I was 13 or 14, 15 at this time. I don't know how old I was. 16 maybe? Teenager. Yeah, I was a teenager. Wasn't very smart. And he didn't say anything else about it, and I didn't say anything else about it, but I did notice that after that little conversation, when I mentioned his orange hair, his hair started turning white. Never went to gray. It went straight to white. And you know, I wonder sometimes if it's not just time for some people to just get real. Sometimes being real is better than orange. I mean, orange is okay. Is there anybody with orange hair in here?
You better look around.
That's pretty red. That's not. No, this orange I'm talking about was like yeah, bozo orange. It was. And I had this one deacon in my church one time. They had one strand of hair. Now let me look around again. Make sure I'm not talking about anybody. He had one strand of hair. And here's what he would do, you know. And then when it got up here to the front, and then he would like back and forth like this, so you could put a little curl in it. But when you go out in the wind, I'm serious. It's not like he had a little bit of a comb over. It wasn't like that. It's like it was a hair. Ooh. And I wanted just to go cut that one hair off. And I wanted he would be. But that's beautiful. Bald is beautiful. And I'm learning that as I get older.
On other people.
Yeah, on other people. Yes, ma'am.
Talking about bald.
He was. I wasn't.
My dad was bald. He got bald when he was 23.
talking
Don't
about
know
bald
what
people.
don't know what it would be for hair, but he would go all the way to Jacksonville to cut one piece of hair off that he wouldn't let nobody else cut.
Oh my.
I said, Dad, if you'll just let me cut. No, I need the sides shaped a
Yeah.
little bit. And I thought, you don't have much sides. You know?
There are some people that you really just want to look at and say, get real. Now, I say that because it's a lot of times I come to church and I see these people that are just, oh, and they can speak in tongues, you know. See my tie, see my bow tie. Give me the keys to my Honda, see my tie. And then you see them on Monday and you're like, that can't be the same person. Then they come back to church. See, and you just want to say, get real. Just get real. Be one or the other. I don't really care which one you are, but do you mind just getting real? And that's kind of what I want us to look at tonight, is not about the color of our hair, or if we just have one hair that we're twirling around, or it's more the inside. Are you real and are you genuine? Or are there people that want to look at you when you come to church on Sunday and say, I can't believe you come to church here. I didn't know you went to church. Get real. The first thing that I want us to look at is what I call the temple of religious facade. The temple of a religious facade. A facade, of course, is a metal building maybe that has a rock front on it, so it looks like a rock building, but the truth is it's cheaply made metal building with a nice front on it. And we call that nice front a facade because it's really not a picture of what the building is. Okay? It's a facade. And so we want to look, it's a fake. We want to look at the temple of the religious fake, or the religious facade. And in John chapter 2, verse number 13 through 17, now the Passover of the Jews was at hand, and Jesus went up to Jerusalem. And he found in the temple those who sold oxen. He found, did I read that right?
Yeah.
He found in the temple those who sold oxen and sheep and doves and the money changers doing business. When he had made a whip, now this is Jesus, when he made a whip of cords, he drove them all out of the temple with the sheep and with the oxen. Yeah, here, yeah, here, ha, ha. And then he poured the money changers' tables and turned them over. And he said to those who sold doves, take these things away. Do not make my Father's house a house of merchandise. Now, Jesus, why did he go here to the temple? Why did Jesus go?
Passover.
It's Passover. What was he going to do? Pray. He wanted to worship God.
Yeah.
That's where he went, to the temple. But everyone else was there. Everyone else was there for other reasons. Now, this is how Jesus met the people. It's not like he went there thinking, you know, I'm going to go make me a whip and go in there and I'm going to tear things up because they're not doing it right. He went there to worship. He sees these people doing all these other things. And you get the impression that it hits him. Just kind of, I mean, he knew what was going on, but it just hits him. And all of a sudden you see righteous indignation, don't you? I mean, when a guy has $5,000 in cash right here and some doves over here and some oxen over here, and he's selling some and swapping out doves for oxen and doing all this kind of stuff, and all of a sudden Jesus comes and, yeah, get out of here! Ah, yeah. The man's a little upset.
Oh God.
Righteously upset. Now, let me ask you this. What was wrong with selling doves and selling oxen and changing money in the temple? What was wrong with that?
They were supposed to be yours, right? Weren't you supposed to bring like your own animals to sacrifice?
If you had them, what if you didn't have them? Where'd you go to get them?
Not at the church.
Because the person's scalping them out for money.
Out to the market, I would imagine.
Well, and they had to be spotless and approved by the priest. And so the priest would have some set aside so that you could get them taken care of. So where do you think they're going to do this?
Yeah, in the marketplace or something.
Okay. This is what the rabbi said. Now, who set up the laws of having to have the sheep and the doves and paying for them if you don't have them? Who set up those rules?
Sadducees, Pharisees.
Moses and God's where I would go.
The law.
Moses and God are the ones that set up the rules in Leviticus. And this is how you do it. Now, are they following it correctly? That's debatable.
No,
Oh, no, it's not?
no, they were leaving God out.
They were leaving God out, and that's what we're going to look at. But the practice is what we're looking at. The
Yeah.
practice of buying and selling was ordained by God.
They were doing it for profit, not for sacrifice.
They were doing it for making lots of money. Yeah, sure they were.
But why did they go to the temple to do it?
Because where are they going to be sacrificed?
Couldn't they have done it outside, not in the temple?
Well, and we don't know for sure that it was necessarily all of this taking place in the building itself. I'm sure a lot of the animals were out in the courtyard. Yeah, so I'm assuming that. I don't know that. I wasn't there, and I've not ever read anything to that. But that's always been my assumption. And yet Jesus drove them off because they're on the temple grounds, and these people are there making the Lord's house a den of thieves. So not only are they buying and selling and doing what God said, but they are making a big profit on it. And their reason for being there is what? As you said. Profit. Yeah, they're profiteers.
Were they even Jews?
They're what?
Were they even Jews?
That's a good question. Now, I'm sure a majority probably were.
They had to be inside.
Be in the temple grounds, yeah. Yeah, so unless they paid grease and palms, you know, there were those that did that too. I mean, they do it today. So anyway, we got these people out there all about the wrong motives.
Yeah.
And Jesus comes. Now, what's Jesus wanting to do? Is he wanting to sacrifice? Is he? I don't know. The Bible doesn't say what he's wanting to do. He's wanting to worship. But he realizes these other people that are coming to sacrifice, they're not coming to really sacrifice. They're coming to do, well, what about the ones that are paying the money? They're just following the,
Fulfill the law.
fulfilling the law. They're doing what they're told. They're sheep being led to the slaughter.
They were profiting off God's sincere people.
What's that?
Those people were probably sincere and came to.
As
and then the other people, the thieves, were profiting off of people that were
Right.
trying to worship.
Well, and I don't even know that because these sincere people had these guys as their prophets, as their priests. And so they're the ones leading them. How sincere is it even possible that they were? You know, because they've been taught and raised by these greedy, no-good scoundrels.
That's one time when God was so angry that he whipped them out of the temple because they were disobedient.
Well, maybe it's one of the times.
Yeah, because all through the Bible, he was angry a lot of times because of disobedience.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and like you said, they went in there with one motive and ended up with something else. And they wasn't real to God.
Now let's apply this to ourselves. Now we know that Crystal Hill Assembly of God is here for people to come on Sundays and Wednesdays. We'll just use those 2 days of the week. We'll forget any other activities that go on with the youth or with anything else. Just Sundays and Wednesdays. Why is Crystal Hill here? A place to worship. What else? Fellowship.
A hospital for the lost.
Okay.
Discipleship,
Discipleship.
ministry.
And let's not forget drinking coffee
And eating.
and eating. Okay. But has our focus become on being a church that is trying to get money so it can be the largest church, the most famous church, the biggest church? Is that the purpose of Crystal Hill Assembly of God? No. It's a place for people to come worship God. Now,
And find Christ.
and find Christ and to learn more about it. Now, would we like to be the biggest church? How many would vote for that? Yeah, I wouldn't vote against it. If the Lord gives us children, I'll help raise them. Absolutely. But But we got to be careful not to be like all of these. Who was it? Somebody called a while ago the Pharisees and what? No, that's not what Beale said. He said something else.
Pharisees and Sadducees, but I didn't
He
understand the question.
misunderstood.
Oh, okay. Okay, I thought you said something else. I'm glad I misunderstood you, because what I thought you said was much funnier. We're not here to impress. We're not here so that people can see my fancy tie. I can't even wear it. My coat doesn't even flow anymore, so I don't even wear sport coats anymore, except on Easter and Mother's Day. That's it. I've noticed that you guys don't come to try to impress people. You come to worship the Lord. When I was, my first car that I got when I got out of college was a '78 Cutlass Supreme. It was nice. Yeah, Oldsmobile. Back in the days when they made Oldsmobiles. No, I had a '73 before that. I wish I had the '73. But anyway, I had a '78 Cutlass. And it was nice. I mean, it had electric windows. You push the button and it bzzz, bzzz. I'd never had that before. Bzzz, bzzz.
You always had a crank.
Oh, yeah, yeah. It had, it had a fancy radio in it that had these lights that just flickered. I mean, when the music played, you could see all these lights flickering. I was like, wow. Oh, look at that. The seats, when you wanted to go back, you just pushed a button.
Now, what year was this?
78.
Because I'm used to the one that you flip like this.
Well, that's why this was pretty. This was a Cutlass Supreme. Now it was the top of the line. Now it had velour seats, but it was top of the line, and having all this electric stuff in it, and mirrors you could just push a button and the mirror would move. Can you believe that? You know, see, this doesn't even mean anything to people anymore, does it? It's like, I don't know what cars do that. But this was a nice car, but it was. I bought cheap tires for it, and I should never bought cheap tires, because cheap tires, when it gets wet, they just. And so the first time, I didn't have my new tires on it a month, until one day I was stopping in East Dallas one time, and there's a 4-lane traffic, and a car stopped in front of me, and it just started raining. You know, where there's oil on the roads and the rain just started, and I hit my brakes, and it's like I was sliding on ice. Well, I turned in the insurance. I hadn't got it fixed yet. It was going to be a few weeks before I could get it fixed. It wasn't a week later till I was up on Garland Road, close to Garland, between Garland and Dallas. And I had stopped, and somebody else came and plowed right into my backside.
So your windows didn't go zzz no more.
Well, in the two of the windows still went zzz. Yeah. And during the time of this, the windows did get messed up, and rain got in the car while I was waiting on it to get fixed, and the headliner started sagging. You know, I don't think headliners made the same, but you see it was like this foam stuff that would deteriorate and just come down. And so I had my insurance money that I got from when I turned in for the first wreck I had. I had the man's insurance money for the wreck that he caused, but then I still had the inside falling down and some other work that I was needing to get done. And so one of the guys in our church was a painter. And he said, "Ken, I'll teach you how to paint your first car." I said, "Really?" So we got fenders and a rear quarter panel, and he did that part for me. And he said, "Now you're going to paint it." And buddy, it was blue metallic. Said, "Boy, I was just painting away, and I got it all pretty. When nice and dried, it's like," I said, "Why does it have these tiger stripes in it?" Well, when you have metallic, apparently you got to keep shaking it or something, or it gets anyway. It still looked good after he got through. I got it all brand new car. I was able to get I did my headliner myself. He had a guy that had a gun that sprayed the glue on there, and I bought the material. And because I did it, the money that I had was able to fix it up brand new. It was great, awesome. I had my 78 Cutlass back. Well, come tax time. And I didn't have money to pay my taxes. Well, in the year between when I fixed it up and it looked nice and the radio was just pretty and display and then the mirrors moved and the windows went bzzz, bzzz, and the seats laid back and up and had the center console and the clock that worked on it, and it was a really nice car. During the next year, the third gear went out on it. I was going to a friend's wedding and third gear went out on the way back. No, that's okay. Third gear, you know, still had first, second gear in reverse. The gas mileage on it, something was wrong with it. It went down. It used to get close to 30 miles a gallon on the highway. It was getting 15 miles a gallon on the highway now. Well, listen, that's a big part of it right there. So I thought, man, if I can get $500 for this thing, I'll be doing good. My wife said, oh, no. She comes from a long line of horse traders. She said, we can do better than that. I said, I don't know. If we get $500 for it, I'd be doing good. She goes, let me sell it. Had some people come out to the house, and they looked at it, and they said, boy, it looks good. Yeah, look at the windows. Look at this radio. Look at that headliner. Boy, it's going to last you forever. It looked good. It looked good. You know what she got for it? $1,200. Why did they get $1,200? Not because it ran good, because it didn't have a third gear. And they knew that.
Oh, it looked good.
It looked good. Had a good facade. And that's all they cared about. Or maybe they thought they could fix that third gear with a little $99 goop from Walmart or something. I don't know. I tried that 99-cent stuff. It didn't work, but anyway. All I'm saying is a lot of times we try to look a certain way, act a certain way, and that just doesn't count. I think sometimes the Lord is wanting to come into our life and shake things up and break up the whip and say, Ken Mayo, why are you doing it like this? Get this out of here. Get this out of here. You don't need that in here anymore. Mayo, get rid of that. And he does.
I better take my car back because the reason I bought it was it looked good.
It looked good. yeah, well.
And the windows did go zzz.
Yeah. But you got like 6 gears on your car, so you're in good shape.
As long as they're not three of them go out.
Let me see. Your projector has disconnected.
You had turned it off leaning on it.
Did I? What did I do wrong? Lord, help me do this because I don't know what I'm doing.
It hadn't worked right since you was running the money changes.
The money changes ran them out, huh?
That's right.
Huh. Well, you know, when you're doing it wirelessly, I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to be quick, I promise. And we're going to do this the old-fashioned way. I hadn't got my hardwired stuff in this bag. They're in my other bag. Oh, here they are right here.
You know what, Brother Ken? We were happy to have AM, and we had an 8-track tape player.
Yeah, buddy. We're glad to get that 8-track tape player.
No hard work.
Yeah. Be the easiest thing to do. Would you unsnap that right there? Let me have some more. And then I got to switch this back.
One way to skin a cat.
Why aren't you working? We got to get there or we got to go home, one of the two. If that doesn't work, we're in trouble.
I was driving,
We're getting better, aren't we?
I was just driving good in
I think that's too far, though. There we are. Temple of separation. I'll make these quick because I took up too much time of your time, I promise. The temple of separation. Here we come to Luke chapter 23, verse number 45. Why are we not at Hebrews 10?
It was well done.
Okay. Luke 23, verse 45. Oh, I've got them. Okay. Then the sun was darkened and the veil of the temple was torn into. I'm talking about the temple of separation. We had the temple of the facade where they were doing it for all the wrong reasons. Here's the temple of separation. The presence of God, because the veil of the temple was drawn into veil of separation. Now, tell me how that applies to us in a good way. Tell me the good things that happen because we can now have direct access to God. Okay, asking for forgiveness. Right. Right, so you go from one and the only one to everyone. So we can go there, ask forgiveness. What else can we do there in His presence? Yeah, just talk to Him. Hey, how you doing, God? What else can you do there? The Holy Spirit can do what?
The Lord sent the Holy Spirit.
Right. The Holy Spirit is here right now and in us now, dwelling in us.
And we can ask Him for anything.
Asking for
Healing. Salvation.
Salvation. Okay, that's
All
good.
kinds of things.
Because the veil is rent, we have direct access to the throne of God to make whatever petition it is that we have. What do you need? You need food in your refrigerator? Lord, I need food in my refrigerator.
That's right.
Is your car missing third gear? Lord, my car's missing third gear. Okay, whatever it is. Now let me ask you this. What about a downside? Is there a downside? A downside to the veil being rent. Or maybe an unpopular side. What's that? The high priest lost a job? Yeah. Yeah, for him it was kind of a downer, I guess.
No, I really don't see a downside. Because this leaves us open to speak to the Lord.
Okay, and I'm probably not expressing myself well,
I don't
but
know.
now we have accountability directly to God. Now His Spirit, which is in us, talks to us and says, quit doing that! Because the veil is torn in two, not only can we go say, oh, Santa Claus, give me, but now the Lord can look at us and say, now you stop that directly from God to you. You don't have to have a prophet come tell you. He can tell you. Or maybe He says, you've been awfully lazy. You need to start doing this.
Our Father with us. when we do wrong.
Yeah, sure he does. A
He lets it,
loving
he
father.
quickens our spirit, he knows.
But even what I said was the negative side of him coming right direct to us and revealing sin and revealing righteousness and judgment to come. If we continually confess our sin and continually strive to perfect ourselves and cleanse ourselves from all unrighteousness, we have confidence before God when we go to Him through our newly acquired free access. We have confidence now. If I will let Him do His work in me, when He says, Ken, quit saying that. Ken, start going there. Ken, get that out of your life. If I'll listen to Him in that, then when I go to Him and say, Lord, I need my third gear, I have confidence to ask Him for my third gear because I've done what He has said, because we have direct access.
I had someone say, well, we're only human. We're going to do these things. And then the scripture comes to my mind. He that knoweth to do good and doeth not, to him it is sin. Because so many people, Brother Ken, Christians, walk around and they say, well, it was a mistake. Okay, I'm human. You know, I mean, they don't know that there's repercussions
Yeah, there are.
from what you do.
And being human means God can speak to you.
That's right.
God can. Let me just close with this story because I had another point that we'll blame it on the technology. Yeah, it's technology's fault. We don't go any further than this. When I was growing up at church with Sister Brother Doyle and Sister Sue, we had a bus ministry. There were like, I don't know, 15 school buses. And we went out every Saturday and we try to get kids to ride the bus. And then on Saturday, we'd go out and get them. And then we had the world's giant popsicle, the largest popsicle, or the world's biggest banana split, or the biggest something or other that would entice the kids to come. Every kid would get a piece of watermelon. The world's largest Easter egg hunt. I forget all the different things we had to do. Well, this one Saturday, I remember the Saturday, it was me and a guy named that we called Oscar. Do y'all remember Oscar? His name was Rick Caudell. Oscar and I had the bus route. And we went out to Jacksonville Air Force Base. That was our route. And then to some of the trailer parks right there by the Air Force Base. And so we went out there and invited people to come and gave out all of our flyers. And we were on our way back home. And on the way back home, I was driving the church van. And the Arkansas Razorbacks were on the radio. They were playing Baylor. And the score was tied up, and Arkansas was about to kick a field goal. No, it didn't quit. We were coming up McCain Mall. That's how we came back from Jacksonville, came up McCain Boulevard to 47th Street down to the church. And as I was coming down McCain Boulevard, right before you get to JFK, you're going up this little hill, and they were just about to kick the field goal. When I topped the hill, I noticed that there was a car right over the hill that had stopped. I slammed on my brake, ran right into the back of that car.
Did they have electric windows?
I don't even know who won that ball game. I do know this. Pastor Johnson came up, and he was very kind. I had to go home to my dad. Brother Johnson went with me, and my dad didn't kill me, but my dad didn't talk to me for a couple of days, say a word. This lady ended up suing the church, saying I caused cancer when I hit her. That's what she did.
Oh, cancer.
That's what she said. Anyway. It wasn't one of y'all, was it? I was driving a motorcycle at that time in my life. That's how I got from home to church. And that's how I got around. And I was driving back to my house. We lived at Indian Head, off of, out in Indian Head anyway, some apartments. And I was going to drive home. I didn't have enough gas to get home.
My dad was in the pew, but you know what? I just needed $1 to get gas. $1 worth of gas would have got me home. So I went and I sat behind my dad and I said, "Hey, Dad." He didn't say anything. This was in church. He didn't say anything. Sunday night. And so I didn't ask him for $1. And so here's what I did. I asked forgiveness. Lord, forgive me. I made it to the bottom of 47th Street, there at JFK, and there was a gas station right across the road on the right. I don't know if it's still there or not. It used to be a gas station. So I went to the hose and I tried to see if it would empty any gas at all in my tank.
Oh, no.
Oh, I was. I got back on my motorcycle. I made it. I made it all the way to the interstate. And I stayed on the access road. Back in those days, the access roads are two-way. And made it past the movie. There was an outside movie theater on the left, and it just died. Is
City.
that what it was?
City.
City, okay. And it just died on me. And I had to get off and push it all the rest of the way home. Now, why? The easy thing to do would have been, "Daddy, will you give me $1?"
Yeah,
Why didn't I do that?
I don't know, because I would have.
It's because I had no confidence. Because I had just wrecked the van, and he was mad at me for wrecking the church van. And because I had done wrong, I had no confidence to ask my dad to do something for me. And it would have been so simple for my dad. And here's all I'm saying, guys, when we have wrong stuff in us and the Holy Spirit is saying, "Get rid of that, start doing that," but you keep holding on to it, guess what happens when you go to the Lord in prayer? You have no confidence, zero confidence that He'll do it. I'm not saying He's not going to answer your prayer. That's up to Him. But I'm saying you have no confidence. You have no faith. You go in there, "Oh, please, God, help me get $1. Just $1. And that's what it ends up being, a begging session rather than a prayer session. But the veil has been rent. That veil means now we have direct access to God, that we can go and ask stuff of Him, but it also means He has direct access to us so that He can cleanse us, which gives us confidence when we go before Him. Just close it right there. Any other cars y'all want to talk about? Anyone have a problem with your windows? First time, borrow $1.
I want to know if she won a lawsuit for you giving her cancer.
Well, yeah. I don't think I gave her cancer. I really don't.
Whiplash, but cancer?
Yeah, I really don't.
Please.
No, let's pray. Jesus, we do thank you that you still speak to us. You work. And Lord, I thank you for that. I don't consider it punishment. I consider it a privilege that your Holy Spirit convicts me. I desire that. I want to know His voice convicting me of wrong, convicting me of right. That's what I want, Lord, because I want to stand before you and have confidence. I want to know that you hear me and that you're answering my prayers. And so I pray for all of us, Lord, let us hear you clearly. Hear you when you talk and have confidence when we talk. That's what we pray. And I'm asking for all these requests that have been made known tonight. Once again, Lord, we bring them before the throne of grace, boldly knowing that you hear us and that you make intercession for us. We give you praise and we give you thanks. It's in Jesus' name we ask it. Amen. Amen.